Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the weekly MMA Cycles Market Update. Today is the 31st of July, 2024, and I am Gianni DePocci, your host. We're seeing markets catch a strong bid today so far, going into the FOMC rate decision from the Federal Reserve, and then we're going to have Fed Chair Powell's press conference. And as you can see, we are coming off of a higher low here in the Dow Jones. And this is bullish price action, but during the last couple of weeks, we've seen the NASDAQ and the technology sector really experience a nasty sell-off. And so looking for a situation here where perhaps the Dow makes a new all-time high, but not the NASDAQ. And this is going to be a really interesting period that we're going into here because we have Venus square Uranus on Friday, the 2nd of August. And this is a classical breakout signature, but whenever Uranus is involved, you never know whether it's going to be above resistance or below support. And Uranus also rules the tech sector, so keep especially a close eye on the NASDAQ, which has bore the brunt of this sell-off. But then we have Venus moving into Virgo on the 4th of August, and then the notorious Mercury retrograde period begins on the 5th of August. And so this is why I'm especially looking for a situation where perhaps the NASDAQ does not make a new high, but the Dow does. You can see here there's quite a bit of technical resistance above the NASDAQ 100 that it will have to be overcome. Now, to be clear, if there's ever going to be a situation or a geocosmic signature where it can be overcome, Venus square Uranus is definitely a candidate, but it remains to be seen whether the NASDAQ can go on to make a new high. We are seeing bonds see a nice bid as well. Markets have all but priced in the probability of a rate cut in September. Not looking for a rate cut today unless Fed Chair Powell surprises us. We are in the Mercury retrograde shadow period. We don't really give much weight to that in our methodology here at MMA. But the fact that we're seeing duration outperform to the upside in the bond market is a cautionary signal and does increase the odds that an economic slowdown is on the horizon. This is a classical flight to safety trade and a sign that capital in the market is seeking safety in the refuge of treasuries. If you take a look at gold, GLD seeing a nice bid. Both gold and silver are seeing nice rallies here. You can take a look at SLV, the silver ETF. I am entertaining the possibility of an expanded cycle low that was completed this week. If so, silver could be very bullish, and precious metals tend to do better when interest rates come down because there's not the opportunity cost to own precious metals is not as high when bonds are paying lower rates of interest. So we could be entering a period where precious metals do well simply by virtue of the macroeconomic environment. Let's take a look now at the energy market. Crude oil coming up off a low of significance here. Could be a major cycle bottom, but there still are some notable headwinds in this space. The biggest one from an economic standpoint is the possibility of an economic slowdown, because normally energy would not do so well when the economy is slowing. But given the upcoming square between Jupiter and Saturn, the central time band begins on August 19th and goes until the 15th of June 2025. All the rules may be thrown out in the energy market. So it's going to be interesting to see how this unfolds, especially once the Fed lowers interest rates and starts printing money again. There's also been some notable developments in the Japanese yen. We have seen a major collapse in the dollar and really every currency against the Japanese yen, a tremendous appreciation. The big news is that the Bank of Japan finally ended its decade-plus experiment with negative interest rate policy. So NERP is no longer in effect in Japan. And this collapse already started. We've been warning readers about a drop into a 4-year cycle or greater low in the Japanese yen. And we talked about this at length in Forecast 2024. And this is panning out exactly how we looked for it to happen. And, once upon a time, seeing the yen appreciate in this manner would signal a classical risk-off scenario. And we know that there are some cyclical risks in stocks. So that's why I'm treading very carefully here over the next few months, especially going into election season, especially with Jupiter square Saturn. we do have an environment here that is suggesting caution in risk-related assets. Now, you are seeing so far today a little bit of a rally in the euro against the dollar, and this is another scenario we outlined for readers as well, one where you could see the dollar rally against the euro but lose value against the yen, and that also seems to be panning out accordingly at the moment. Last and certainly not least, Bitcoin and Ethereum. Bitcoin continues to consolidate near its high. I would especially watch this market towards the end of this week and the beginning of next week, coming up off the Venus square Uranus. It's a classical breakout signature. Venus is especially important for Bitcoin and Ethereum, and you can see here Ethereum showing a little bit more strength here today, but we'll see what Fed Chair Powell does to the markets following the press conference. So that's all that I wanted to review with you today. Thank you so much for watching. Just a couple of announcements. We just published the monthly grains report and are coming out with the monthly addendum plus. The grains report is written by Wyatt Fellows, MMTA graduate and farmer, and the monthly addendum plus is written by Puyan Zulfagarnia, MMTA graduate and analyst of other reports. And of course, the big event that we have coming up in just over a month's time is the Lake Bled Investment Retreat from September 19th to September 22nd. You don't want to miss it. MMA coming back to Europe. Conference is open for everyone. Spots are limited. We do not have a lot of spaces left in person, but there is the availability to watch and participate in the event virtually. So any questions or comments, feel free to send us an email at customerservice@mmacycles.com. And that's all for now, everyone. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. We have updates each and every week. Thanks again. See you next time.